right, guys. Welcome to the first episode of video of the Real Rap Podcast, but the third overall. I'm JP, and this is my co-host, Javi.
Welcome. Thank you for tuning in to our first video episode podcast.
Yeah, this is very exciting stuff, I heard a couple people say they want video and everything. It was going to be a little bit hard. Sadly, we couldn't get a camera today, so we have my laptop recording us. Hopefully that's okay for today. But next week we'll try to get a, camera and everything, get something a little bit better quality wise.
Decent, professional, yeah.
Yeah, but this is
movie quality
But this definitely, this definitely is at least something. I'll take something.
It's a start.
It's a start. Good start. But hey, we got a lot to talk about today, Just to let you guys know, last week we said we're going to have a conversation about movie licensed video games, but we're saving that for next week because, certain people that we wanted to be here couldn't make it. So we're just going to, stick to movies today and TV shows as well. So, yeah. The first thing I got today, Javi didn't see it, I don't believe, but I did see the new Saw movie, like I said I would last week. Yep. And okay, let's talk about last week. Last week I said if you want to, I had a 60-minute Expendables rant. Mm-hmm. I promise you guys this review is probably going to be 15 minutes max. But last week I said if you want to see a mediocre movie that will be entertaining, just watch Saw X. And I talked about how, when talking about Saw X, I talked about how it's kind of a franchise where it's it's not really the most critically acclaimed, not the best quality franchise, except for the first one. I think the first one's a genuinely good movie. But 2 through 9, they're just guilty pleasure movies of mine. But I know that they're not good movies and everything. So we've kind of had to rank Saw movies on a different scale. So, as movies, they're not good. But as Saw movies, they are awesome. They do the job and, they are pretty fun to watch, even though the story is lacking and everything's just lacking except for the traps. And, and the story is just over the top that it's fun. So, they're guilty pleasure movies, 2 through 9 at least, and they're not good, but they're fun. And like I said, different scale. There's, rating as a movie and then rating as a Saw movie. And, there's some like Jigsaw where it's not really a good Saw movie, but then there's some really fun ones like Saw 6 and Saw 2 where they're really fun Saw movies. So yeah, now with that, it's led to Saw X. So the takeaway from this movie, as a Saw movie, it is a really, really good Saw movie. Very, very good Saw movie. But as a movie, it's actually really, really good as well.
Oh, okay, there you go.
That's the plot twist.
That's the plot twist. Plot twist. And we had talked about this too. I had never, and I know, I'm a person who loves film, but I've never really gotten into the Saw franchise because I remember it came out. It started in almost 20 years ago, 2004. That's when the first one came out.
Yeah.
So. But then it became this big kind of following, this big kind of cult following afterwards. So actually, now that I've kind of heard some decent things about it, I actually kind of am a little bit curious. And also, I was a little bit curious too about Spiral too, because I was Chris Rock in a Saw movie. That just, but anyways, but yeah, I'm definitely continuing with your review. I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts because you said it's both a good Saw movie and a good movie. So.
Yeah. Just fixing my microphone for a second. Sorry, everyone listening and watching. But yeah, I'm not going to give spoilers because I genuinely think, if you can handle blood and gore, you should go see this movie. It is and I'm not recommending it oh yeah, this movie is so stupid and fun that I recommend you see it because it's stupid and fun and not good. No, this is genuinely by miles. I think it's better than even the first Saw.
The first Saw.
Yeah. This movie, the biggest thing is that it feels a lot different compared to every other Saw movie. if we're being honest, except for the first one, maybe even the first one, but I'll give an exception to that. They don't really focus on the characters, and there's not really too much character development or anything. Oh, well, depending on the movie, like Saw 6 had a lot of character development with the victim, but it's definitely more focused on the traps, if we're being quite honest. And this one, the traps really are not the main thing, to be honest. Spiral is kind of the same too, but because like even the traps in that movie, they really weren't that focused on the traps. So I'll give them credit there. Spiral did do something different too. That's another that's a little bit different. But this one felt even more different than Spiral felt, because usually John Kramer's the main antagonist of the Saw movies, but this time he was the main protagonist, and we've seen so much character development with him and Amanda Young. Some that we saw John Kramer in a way that we haven't seen him before. Like in this movie, we see him at his most vulnerable, which is, I'm pretty sure that has to be a first in the Saw franchise. I've never seen John Kramer like be the vulnerable one, but in this one, he was very, very, very vulnerable. Like, we see him it'll get a little bit spoily, but it was in the trailer. We see him like struggling with the fact that, he has brain cancer and he's going to die within a year.
Oh, wow.
And we kind of see what goes into his methods of why he does the things that he does with the traps, and why he feels that these people deserve to find it's not retribution, it's a reawakening. It's a quote he said. That's the best way to put it. Why he thinks that they need a reawakening and value their life more and all this stuff. Like, we get to see why, because so this is a little bit of a spoiler if you hadn't watched a trailer and the movie. So if you don't want to hear about it and want to go into it, not knowing anything, pause here and I'll let you guys know, when that's over. But in the beginning, basically, if you saw the trailer and of course if you've seen the movie, John's like really desperate to find a way for a cure for his cancer. And by the way, Jill is not in this movie. Jill Kramer's not in this movie at all. Like, we don't see her. It's just John. So she has no presence in this movie or anything. So he goes and finds this thing, this place where it's not approved by the FDA or anyone, but it's something that he is just willing to do because he just wants to get a cure for his cancer. Like he's just desperate, but then he goes, he hits her up, the doctor that's doing this kind of shady practice and everything, these medicines that will help cure his cancer. So he emails her. She contacts back. She says, we're in Mexico because we've been away from the authorities because Big Pharma is trying to, take us down and everything. He goes to Mexico. They do treatment on him. And then, he's healed and everything. And she's like, oh, you can live your life now, everything. Then he finds out it's a scam. Damn. So, which leads to, if you've seen the trailer, all those people were part of the scam. And he's getting revenge on all of them. And, it's just so well done. This movie was really well done. I want to give props to everyone who worked on this movie. This is definitely Tobin Bell's strongest performance in a Saw movie. Like, he's always been, one of the best, and, the best thing in the Saw movies. But in this one especially, he is just awesome. From top to bottom, just great performance, because it's really a John Kramer we have never ever seen before. We've never seen him like this, and that's what makes me love this movie a lot. I think I rank it above Saw 2, which is my personal favorite. There are moments that actually make you tear up a little, because you're just because let's be honest, John Kramer is a piece of shit. That's the first and only swear I'll probably say here because I swore a lot last week. But like, he's an awful human being, you know? Like, he even if, you know, his morals are like these people are bad and he only punishes bad people most of the time, like, it's still pretty messed up. Like, he's essentially killing them, you know? Mm-hmm. But they found a way for you to make him feel like you feel bad for him because, like, wow. It was just, like I said, just a lot of character development. We saw a lot more of John and Amanda's relationship, which, oh my God, I wish we got this in the early movies because I never realized how much of a missed opportunity it was to not have them as, like, the main protagonist. Because the thing is, in this film, we see their relationship and Amanda cares so much about John, you know? Like, we're led to think, like, in Saw 2 and 3 that she's just doing it because she's, you know, crazy and is bloodthirsty and everything. But she knows John isn't going to live too much longer. And she genuinely cares. And she's heartbroken by the fact that he says that there's nothing else that they could do. And, you know, she's just so hurt by it because this is her mentor and everything. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, there's a lot of moments. We see John Kramer crying and all this stuff. Like, it's crazy. And I will say, like, you know, the traps, of course, like, as always, they're going to be really gory and bloody. I will say, though, most of the traps in this movie aren't, like, they're very gory. But compared to the other Saw movies, they definitely was a lot. I'd say it was a little bit more toned down from past movies, for sure, on the gore. Because there's only, like, I think there's only one trap, really, where they really show the gore. And the other two, or the other three, I'm sorry, 4 or 5, there's not, like, you know, too much, like, gore and blood and everything. Actually, the first one was pretty gory. But they don't really, like, you know, it's really not the same as other Saw movies. Like, you know, I'm still because I did see it today, so I'm still processing what I really want to say about it. But overall, I think it's just really well done. Like, it's for not just a Saw movie, but just a movie in general. It's one of my favorite horrors this year, and that's why, for the first time ever, I'm giving a Saw movie a 4-star rating because it really hit. Like, and as a Saw fan especially, it just hit, like, for me every moment. Like, I never thought I want to see a movie like this until now. A Saw movie, at least, where they just really focus on everything with John and Amanda. And, you know, like I said, managed to find a way to make John, who's still a bad person, like, you know, like, show him, like, they really showed in this movie, without spoiling, that even if it seems like he has no morals at all, there are some things where he absolutely has some morals. Mm-hmm. And he, like I said, he's really vulnerable when it comes to, you know, those morals, especially near the end, because then the main villain, who's a doctor, she actually is a worse human being than John Kramer, believe it or not. Like I said, you have to see the movie to see why. I don't want to spoil too much. I'm just kind of keeping it based on the trailer. And I will say about the trailer, too, if you saw the trailer but haven't seen the movie yet, and you are going to see the movie, that trailer does a really good job of not spoiling too much, because it didn't really spoil that much, honestly. I won't lie to you. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, well, I kind of, you know, watching the trailer, I'll be like, oh, well, I know what everything's about. And, like, things play out the same from the trailer in a way, but not in the ways you expect. So, I'm going to put that out there. Nice. There's a lot of misleading things in that trailer, and I give them props for that, because it's kind of like an Avengers Infinity War thing where they had the Hulk in the final battle, but then it's actually turns out he's not even in the final battle. It's him in the Hulk armor, and the Hulk is done for the rest of the movie. Like, I love when trailers do that. I wish more companies did that with their trailers. So, sorry if there's too much noise in the background with that's our WFCS studio. But it's it's great. It was a good movie.
Good experience, good time.
Good experience, good time.
Way better than the Expendables.
Oh, yeah, no. Like, But it's gonna be rare if you see me doing a rant like that. A movie has to be really, really bad for me to do a rant like that. Yeah. And this is not one of those movies.
That's good.
When it's a good movie, I definitely for sure won't spoil it, or at least spoil too much. I'll just give more of the basics of the story.
Nice.
Because, like, I encourage people, like, if a movie is really good and worth watching, I encourage people to see it. And this is one of those movies where I encourage, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of Saw, this is the movie that you have to go see.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so it came out Friday, right? Friday in theaters.
Friday, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So, gonna give it a thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs
Two
up.
thumbs up,
Two
actually.
thumbs up. Two thumbs up for Saw.
I enjoyed
X.
it.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's Saw X. And, you know, it's actually the first piece of entertainment news. It's also the first Saw movie ever to have a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
That is. I was going to bring that up. Yeah, because all of them are rotten. And I think this is the actually only one that's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. But, hey, I mean, good for them. At least, you know, they're going in the right direction. I mean, regardless, they still had that big following.
Yeah.
But, I mean, hey, at least they're getting now kind of a following more from the critics. Which, when you get it from the critics and audience, then, you know, that's definitely a win.
Yeah.
You know, because of its critics over audience or audience over critics, you know, but when you get both, that's a win. So, yeah, actually, some of the stuff that you pointed out, too, I definitely want to go. I am a little bit curious to see it, but I have to start from the beginning because I haven't seen a Saw movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely good. Let's see.
I forgot
What?
I was so busy like setting up and everything. I didn't even put my headphones like you. So yeah.
It's okay.
Let's get those on because I'm just like, wow, something was missing and everything. So I'm not cutting this out from the cast. Sorry if you heard my elbow hit the mic, but yeah. Now I got my headphones on. Now we're all set because I really was lacking there and everything. Good stuff though. Yeah, I definitely recommend it for those who haven't seen the movie yet. Definitely watch this movie for sure. It's totally worth it. It definitely earned that certified fresh rating. Great job.
Nice. You heard it here. Check out Saw X from the Real Rock Podcast.
Yep.
Host JP approves. So also what came on theaters, which I haven't seen yet, and hopefully I could see it before next show, is, and this is also on our agenda too, is The Creator.
Yes.
Definitely, it looks very interesting. It has a scientific vibe to it. Definitely futuristic. With John David Washington.
Yeah.
What else? But on our agenda today, we were going to talk about how it's performed in the box office, though. It didn't seem to kick too hot, unfortunately. I was reading somewhere, last time I checked, it made 14 million this weekend.
I believe so. Yes.
And it costs 80 million. So that's a little bit of a rough patch to climb up. I mean, it's still early though. I mean, the movie's been out for 5 days.
Yeah.
So I mean, they still got time, but the reviews have been pretty decent from what I've seen. For the most part, it's mixed to positive, but leaning more towards positive from critics.
For sure.
But definitely, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I feel like we've been, for the past while now, I feel like movies aren't really performing, as big as they should be in the box office. I mean, besides Barbie and Oppenheimer, because those were like must-see movies of the summer and they were like really hyped. But I've kind of noticed that trend lately with films this summer too. I mean, Mission Impossible, yeah. I mean, I expected it to, to be, in the $1 billion. I mean, to go up at least with Top Gun too, especially because when you think of Tom Cruise in action, that's like a summer blockbuster. So with Top Gun, I was surprised with its box office performance. Blue Beetle, I mean, too, it is a really good movie, Blue Beetle. Yeah. But I know DC, they've been having issues with their performance in the box office, especially this year. I've kind of noticed that kind of dip in box office things. So guys, you got to go out, support movies. It's.
I wonder what it is.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. I don't know. I think, I think a little bit has to do with like streaming in a way, because right now, like a movie, when it comes out in theaters, it's streaming within 2 to 3 months. So that's not that long.
Yeah.
and especially too. I mean, Blue Beetle is going to be streaming next Friday.
Yeah.
And Blue Beetle, it came out like a little over a month ago. So it's crazy because it feels like it just came out. But I think people are like, yeah, I want to see it, but maybe I'm not so much in a rush to see it. Maybe I'll wait like 2 months and I can watch it at home. That's what I kind of feel is a thing in a way too. I mean, same thing with Mission Impossible. I don't know if Mission Impossible is on Paramount Plus, but I don't
think it's on there yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's on there either.
TMNT's on there.
Huh?
TMNT's on there.
TMNT is on there. Yeah,
2 months.
Yeah, TMNT's on there.
Yeah.
I noticed that. So, yeah, I feel like that's kind of what's been going on lately with the box office is just that people just would rather wait. And it's kind of sad, too, because in a way, the movies was always this big place, a place that I still enjoy to go and just escape the world for an hour and a half or two, you know?
Yeah.
And it's sad that's kind of taken a step. I mean, it took a big hit when the pandemic, you know, but it's just sad, and no one really goes to the movies unless if it's a big Marvel movie or something big, you know, like Barbie, you know. And I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I saw the Barbie movie in support. I enjoyed it, and I occasionally enjoy seeing a Marvel movie. But there's other films too that are definitely, I think, worth people's attention, and sometimes people just kind of like miss, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I also think so. Part of it definitely has to be the strike.
That could, yes,
like,
that was.
They don't have really much promotion and everything too. This is a movie that definitely could have used a lot more promotion, but also like, I don't know. I guess like maybe it's just not a movie people were interested in seeing. Like
that's a point. Yeah, I mean, with sci-fi too, because I know Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, it like bombed in box office, but then it became this big like, and when it was released on video, it became this big following. More people saw it, and I think the same thing too with the Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
that too. So I think it kind of has that effect. And I think people in science fiction are just not into it anymore, especially with like dealing with like AI or artificial intelligence. I feel like unless if it's like something with Marvel slapped in front of it, you'll get the crowd. But if it's something outside of Marvel, then
and even then that depends, because even Ant-Man underperformed the box office too.
That's true too. Yeah. So
I wonder what it is. Also, there are other factors too, because let me tell you, it's not really that cheap to go to the movie theater these days, because concessions
that is true.
Really pricey.
The theaters.
This bag of popcorn, guys. This is if you're watching the video stream, this bag of popcorn, regular, was $9, like $9.58 from what I, that's how much I paid today for this bag of popcorn.
Just one popcorn. Just no soda popcorn included?
No.
Damn.
Because water and soda is like $6.
It's ridiculous. I think that's right. That is one factor. Food is really overpriced at the movie theaters. Yeah. And I mean, hey, I'm all about supporting the movies, but they got to do something with those prices. I mean,
ticket prices too are disgusting also, for being quite honest.
Yeah, ticket prices too. I mean, unless if you're going on a Tuesday, you know, typically they have a lot of deals on Tuesday. They have like the $5 Tuesday. I'm sure they have a deal at AMC.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ticket prices, they definitely have spiked up. And food, and you definitely want something to go to watch a movie. You want like something like popcorn, hot, fresh, salty, buttery popcorn, or an ice cold Coke or Pepsi to go with your movie. And I was looking at it. So I know I typically go to Apple Theater because that's kind of closer near my house. But yeah, one time I was just looking at their concessions, their menu, and like they have like a combo for like a regular size popcorn and soda, $14. So that means that it's $7 for popcorn and $7 for soda.
That's nuts.
$7 for soda, where you can get like a freaking 2 liter for like what, like 2 something at the gas station. Like it's
ridiculous.
And then but $5 for a bottle of water when you can get for $1, like $1.10 max, $1.15 at the gas station. So yeah, I mean, I definitely see the food is definitely. But that $9 for a bag of popcorn, wow, that's a lot. That's like, like fair prices, what I'm saying, like going to a fair, like something the Big E would like do.
And I have AMC A-list, so I don't have to worry about this, but ticket prices are bad too. Like they're like $15 for some, and I feel like you're going to like a very luxury one like IMAX or Dolby.
Yeah, it's even more.
$20.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts, dude. It's nuts.
It's pretty expensive. I remember one time I went to the theater. I went to AMC, actually. And yeah, AMC, don't get me wrong, it's a nice theater, nice, beautiful theater. I'm not going to rant on AMC. You know, I support that theater. I go to that theater when I can. But yeah, they're pretty expensive, though. I went there with a friend of mine. This was almost 2 years ago. This was 2021, November of 2021. This was when the movie Last Night in Soho was out. And I had paid for my ticket, and I paid for my friend's ticket, and it was like almost $30 for like 2 people. And no snacks or nothing. That's like, I was like, damn. And at the time, too, they had like where you could like rent the movie for like $20 as well. So I was like, I could have just rented the movie at home for $20 and I would have saved like $10. But I mean, it's, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But it's even kind of even more expensive, too, because I remember last year, too, I was planning to see Lightyear at AMC. And again, no snacks or nothing. And then for like 2 tickets, and I think it was like in a specialty theater, like one of those IMAX things, it was like $49. Almost. God. I didn't pay for it, though. I didn't do that, but I was like,
so nuts.
That's like, with that, you could buy the movie on 4K for like less than that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely, yeah, you're right. That's definitely a factor.
Because, you know, there's a lot of movies bombing that it's like, it can't be that these many people are disinterested in watching a movie, you know, like I get streaming's very convenient and everything, but you know, like there's some great movies you could watch at the movie theater and everything, but like, why would some people want to see it if it costs more? And that's like counting like gas to get to the movie theater. Like, it is pricey, dude.
It is pretty pricey.
It is so pricey. And, you know, like, to some, it's like, is it even worth it to go? You know, like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think movie theaters have to fix some certain things with, you know.
They do, with pricing and, so it's a bummer because, I mean, it's a bummer for both ends because then they kind of miss out because then a movie that, like, deserves some recognition, you know, doesn't get the credit that it deserves. And then, you know, also people, too, who want to see the movie, but then also, you know, saying like, oh, you know, because times are tough, you know. I mean, ever since COVID, times have been, you know, they've been a little on the hard side. So, and then people can't go out and like do something fun, you know, go to a movie with their family or their friends, you know, or their significant other or whatever. And that's really, you know, one of the movies is one of those big things that a lot of people like to enjoy doing, you know. But yeah, it's a bummer. But yeah, hopefully, you know, if any movie companies, studios come across this, hey, you know, here's a little thing. Hopefully put those ticket prices down and those snacks too, please. I don't want to spend $6 for a box of M&Ms, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, it's something else. But, you know, I do plan on seeing the creator.
Me too.
And hopefully next week on our next episode we could definitely shoot you a review for that. But definitely does look interesting, and the premise and John David Washington, he's been pretty good, and a lot of the stuff that he's done I've enjoyed. So yeah, so definitely stay tuned for next week's episode, and we should have that for you on review on the creator.
Yeah. So with that, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna go to our sponsor for a sec. So we'll be right back, and we're going to talk a little bit more entertainment news after this here on the Real Rap Podcast. Do you guys like D&D? Well, check out my friends at WFCS Radio who have their own podcast called Every Which Way, which is a TTRPG podcast where they play Monster of the Week. Jared, Sam, and Noah are 3 people living in Wisconsin who find out monsters are real. Listen in as they hunt down the monsters before they become the hunted. This podcast is available on every platform you can listen to podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. So be sure to check it out. It comes out every week. And we would like to thank them for being our sponsor for today's podcast. Thank you again to Every Which Way for being our sponsors for the video today. But we're going right back to entertainment news. And the next thing we're talking about is Netflix is raising their prices again. That's the rumor, the big rumor from what we hear. After the actor strike is over, they're expected to raise their prices more because it's not expensive enough for you guys. So we're going to keep raising those prices up. It's really, really bad.
It is. It's like almost $20 now.
Yeah.
And it's just insane. It keeps on going up and up. And, you know, the point of to have, yeah, it's so bad. And it's just like, bro, like, Netflix is like, what, they're worth like millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, do they honestly need to go up on their prices? Like,
No.
paying what? It's like $15.99 now for like standard.
Listen, they need that money for Red Notice 2 and all these other shows like they're going to do and cancel after the first season.
Jesus.
After they get a dedicated fan base and everything. That's usually what happens.
So
man.
bad. Like, literally the only good shows on Netflix are like Cobra Kai, Stranger Things, and Orange is the New Black, but that ended like 4 years ago.
Sex Education.
Sex Education I haven't seen, but I have heard some good things. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just... And Netflix was like the #1 streaming service for like a good chunk of time. It like dominated everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and then now everyone wants to do streaming services. So then competition. So of course that's going to increase their price. Then the writer's strike, you know, that definitely, you know, because they lost money there. So now they want more. They want to get that money back double. So to get that money back as soon as possible, there goes the prices. And it's just really a monopoly with them. It's bad. And yeah, and they have like ad options, you know what I'm saying? But the point of streaming was to have no ads. Yeah. And like they all now have ads. Like
it's becoming cable again.
Yeah, it's basically streaming has basically become cable again.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. You just can't win. And the problem with it is that there's just all this content too that, don't get me wrong, Netflix, even though it was the top dog, it had, you know, kind of decreased a little bit, but they do still put out some pretty good content, at least when it comes to their films. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Because they really do have some good films that they do put out from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's tough, you know, and I honestly feel like this move there is going to make them lose a lot of subscribers. I think in 2022, so a little over a year ago, they lost a lot of subscribers. Yeah. They lost like a lot. I think it was like 1 million, like, or even more. Like they lost a lot. Yeah. And it's tough. And I love Netflix, but it's like the only reason I'm just waiting for Cobra Kai. I'm waiting for the new season of Cobra Kai to come out on Netflix. And yeah, I mean, basically they would have like shows too. I mean, Netflix would have everything. Like they had like, cause they had a deal with Disney. So they would have like Disney movies and stuff like that. And then when Disney did Disney Plus and yeah, man, it just, I don't know. Do you have a Netflix account?
I do, yes.
Are you still
going
to
pay for it though? But
okay.
I just use my mother's because I'm not paying for that. I won't lie. The only streaming services I pay for are Peacock, Paramount Plus. That's really it. Because honestly, most of the stuff I'm interested in, and Max too, most of the stuff I'm interested in are those three platforms.
The ones...
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, because like I don't know. I don't really care. I don't use Netflix. I have it, but like I don't use it.
You don't use it frequently,
There's nothing I watch there. I mean, there's a couple movies I got to watch, like Extraction 2. I do want to watch that, but I never put in the time. I still got to watch They Clone Tyrone because I heard that was really good.
Oh yeah, that is pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean, here and there they have like hits, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's like once in a blue moon, they'll put out like a movie that looks really good or has like really good critical acclaim. Yeah. So, but it's not like frequently, you know, because there's so much other stuff. Yeah, with me, I mean, we do have Netflix, but I don't pay for it. Yeah. It's under my my father's account. Yeah. But he really wants to cancel it, and I'm just like,
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he really wants to cancel it.
They don't want you to do that too. Yeah, like not cancel. Oh well, yeah, they don't want you to cancel, but you know, like they don't want you account sharing either, which is something that I just find really ridiculous as well. Because you know, it's like, I don't know. It's just I get it, but like I don't.
Yeah.
It's just you know, you're just. I mean, people can't afford it and they usually split with a friend and everything and all this stuff. It's just kind of ridiculous and it's disgusting business practices. And you know, I hate that Disney Plus and Amazon are going the same way too.
They are with the thing with the password sharing. And I remember years ago, this was like pre-COVID and all that stuff. Years ago, Netflix, someone brought it up that Netflix put on their Twitter account, their official verified Twitter account. Yeah. They put this on. and they stated, and I quote, "Love is sharing a password."
Yeah.
So they even acknowledged it, and then like I think like who was it? It was like Blockbuster or something, because we all know that sadly Blockbuster's closed, but they still have like a Twitter account. Yeah, RIP. But all of our childhood Blockbuster, our Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they knew it and they were cool with it, but like, yeah, no, we got to get this money, man. You know, we can't have people sharing passwords. That's $20 lost there. And yeah, it's
I was born in 2001, but like, you know, I still went to Blockbuster when I was a kid and everything. Like, they didn't close mine down until like when I was 11, so it'd be I think 2012. 2012. So yeah, that was like the last year we had a Redbox, a Blockbuster, but there was also Redbox
too. Yeah,
and you know, then we moved on to that, and then it was streaming.
Same. That's how it came about for us too. I mean, growing up too, because I grew up in the mid 90s. So I was born in the mid 90s. Sorry, I grew up in the early 2000s, but I was born in the mid 90s. So yeah, for that, I mean, it was Blockbuster or another one, Hollywood Video. Yeah, that was another good one too. There was a Hollywood Video down the street from me, and yeah, we would rent there. But then what happened with them was streaming. And Redbox kind of took over, and then they had to increase their prices. Yeah. So then they lost a lot of people, because then people would go to Redbox, because Redbox you could rent the movie for like $1 a day. Yeah. But then Redbox slowly started increasing their prices as well, and then basically like there's hardly any Redboxes left because they lost the streaming now. So streaming, they took them out, and it's sad because what I like about video stores, it's different because. Video stores, you can go in and you have more options. I mean, don't get me wrong, streaming, you have options. Yeah. But it's different because when you walk into a video store, you go around, you look at the back of the video.
Something to do.
Yeah, something to do. And it's an experience, too. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing kind of flicking around through to see what they have, scrolling, but it's different. Then you could also ask, like, employee, like, and they also, too, they had employee picks too. So when you would go to the rack, you would see like a certain rack that says, like employee picks, like these acclaimed movies. So it's different. It was more of a thing. And then you could also sometimes connect too with like a customer. Like sometimes if someone sees you, they'll be like, oh, that's a great movie, or oh man, no, don't get that one. You know what I'm saying? So little things like
get that on Netflix. Yeah. And even on Peacock too, like, sorry for interrupting, by the way.
No, you're good. You're good.
You know, even on Peacock, it's like, I noticed this on Peacock a lot. They put the Rotten Tomato score, but it was if one of their movies got a really bad Rotten Tomato score, they don't put
the score. Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that on Peacock too. They would put the audience score, but they wouldn't put the score.
And then if the audience score is really bad, they do the same thing.
They don't put it at all. Yeah, they just turn it off.
For other movies that aren't Universal, they will do it. Like they will just leave it on. I just find that so fun because all the Saw movies are on Peacock at the moment.
Oh really?
I was on a binge before we before I watched Saw X. Nice. I noticed that a lot, like that all of them had the same, like Rotten Tomato score. Yeah. And speaking of Netflix and, DVDs and all that, this was their last week that they shipped DVDs. It's the end of an era, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
I read about that too. Yeah. Because also originally Netflix was, you would create an account on the website and you would order the movie and then it would get mailed to you. Yeah. So yeah, it's different. And then kind of the streaming picked up like in the early 2010s by like 2010, 2011. That's when everybody kind of ditched the mail-in DVD. Yeah. And then that's when they did the streaming. So yeah, that is an end of era because basically no one really uses, DVDs anymore. But I have a soft spot. I mean, not for DVDs, but more for like Blu-rays. Yeah. And I think we have talked about this too. Yeah. Like I have like a really cool Blu-ray 4K collection. I think physical media too. There's something about physical media too that's also like, it's hard to explain, but there's something about physical media that like me, I'm that kind of guy who like prefers, don't get me wrong, like I love streaming, I have these streaming platforms, but I also like physical media as well because there's something, because with streaming they take off the movie after a certain period of time. Thing about that, it's really sad in Australia that physical media died because like things like that where I want this is why I still buy video games on disc too. Not all, there's some I just buy out of the store because I'm too lazy to get out and get it, but there are some video games that I still go out and buy. Like I'm gonna do that with Spider-Man 2, I think. Spider-Man, because I want to own them. Yeah, it could be taken away from, like, I don't trust digital because they could easily take that away. Take it away, and then you don't know how long it's going to come back, or if it will ever come back. What if that streaming service goes away? Yeah, like, or what if there's like an video? Yeah, if there's an internet shutdown, you know what I'm saying, and you're stuck home. What can PlayStation Video was one of those. Sorry for interrupting. No, you're good. That. PlayStation Video was one of those where they
you know, like they it was a thing. I bought Logan on there. I bought a couple episodes of True Detective. Great show, by the way. Definitely check it on HBO.
Nice.
And then the service shut down, and then I don't know none of that anymore.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. And yeah, just something about having that physical thing. And then there's also too, there's like bonus episode. I mean, the bonus special features, deleted scenes. There's more options that you can't really get from streaming. And definitely, yeah, I love, you know, typically now kind of just with the price too, I noticed that they kind of have ticked up a little bit with certain Blu-rays and 4Ks too, since they're relatively, the quality is higher. But yeah, certain movies though are, I think in my opinion, like are like worth owning physically. You know, I mean, definitely movies that I'm definitely going to pick up is Barbie and Oppenheimer. I'm going to pick up copies of those when they come on Blu-ray or 4K, you know? So yeah, it just comes down to certain movies that are like worth owning, because you never know if it'll ever be streaming or if they'll be gone, and it could be gone for like ever, you know? And it's tough. And we know that once you have it on that physical copy, you know, as long as it's in good hands. I mean, typically with guys like us, we know we're going to put that in good hands. So that will last forever, you know? And it's also too, I mean, years from now too, I mean, that could be something futuristic, you know, you show kids or grandkids, we're like, what is that? Like, this is how we originally watched movies back in the day, you know, instead of just clicking a button, we actually had to open a case, take out a disc, pop it into a player, close a player, then push a button to start the movie, you know? There was a process before just clicking play on a remote, you know? So, yeah. It's, something about that. So it's just, it's crazy, man. And you're kind of bringing it even further back. You're doing VHS tapes.
I do VHS
too.
tapes.
VHS
It's
tapes,
fun.
yeah.
I like going to thrift stores and seeing VHS tapes, you know?
Yeah, that's another.
It's pretty fun. Pretty fun. I enjoy it a lot. It's just a nice hobby, you know. And then I do want to get into Blu-ray, like more 4K Blu-rays, but they're, like I said a couple episodes ago, they're pretty pricey. So,
yeah, at the moment they're pretty pricey. Like right before our show, I got out of work early, so I had an hour to kill. So right before our show, I stopped at Best Buy just to kind of browse around. And the 4Ks are pretty pricey. I mean, some of them, even like the older ones too. I mean, they had like, I think like Scream 2 on 4K, but it was like $21.
Yeah,
so
it's just so pricey.
It's so pricey. If it was like 10 or something, then okay,
go for it.
Yeah, go for it. But like 21, like it's a great movie, but the movie came out 25 years ago. So like, I don't know. Yeah. So it's with the 4K. Yeah, I mean, there's still, because 4K movies have been around for like 5. They came out like in the end of 2017. So like almost 6 years now. 4Ks have been around. So. Yeah, I mean, typically if it's a relatively newer film too, of course it's going to be more pricey, you know. I mean, I can only imagine when Barbie and Oppenheimer come out in 4K, they're probably going to be like $30, you know, each, you know. So, yeah, something to look out for. But yeah, I have a little bit of I mostly have a 4K collection. I mean, Blu-ray, sorry. I have a few 4K movies. But yeah, I mean, it really depends too on the certain movie too, like there's certain movies that like look really good on 4K, but then there's certain movies that look like really bad on 4K.
Terminator 2, I remember.
I think I told you. Yeah, Terminator 2, and then like Halloween. But the problem with that one is because the majority of the movie takes place at night, so it makes it darker to see. So it's better to watch on Blu-ray because Blu-ray is a little bit more brighter, and then 4K wants to give you more of that theater quality, so it tends to be a little bit more darker. So certain movies are good, certain movies are not so, depending on the setting, the scenery, and how things are set up in the movie. But
Speaking of streaming, to go to the next thing, the iCarly revival has been canceled by Paramount Plus after 3 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I remember hearing about it, and I was like, oh, wow, iCarly. I mean, growing up, by then, when the first iCarly came out, I was kind of a little over Nickelodeon. It came out in 2007, so I was like about 11. So I was watching wrestling basically at that time. But yeah, and then I heard a revival of it. So wow, that's kind of crazy because I know they did a couple of Nickelodeon revivals on Paramount.
It's weird because I thought it was doing better because that's one of the Paramount Plus shows I kept hearing about. I don't really hear about Mayor of Kingstown or any of the Yellowstone spinoffs that much, but so I just assumed iCarly was doing really well. I'm surprised that they canceled it. You know, like it seemed like I don't know. I just heard a lot of good stuff about it, and I also heard a lot of people watching it. I don't know. It's just really surprising to me. I don't know what happened here. Maybe it's because of low viewership and I was just wrong, or maybe it's because of budget. Who knows? But
yeah,
it sucks because apparently the last I didn't watch it, but the last season ends on a cliffhanger. So they kind of left it,
Damn, that's the worst.
Yeah, they kind of ended it off, just
up in the air,
anything,
like. Damn, yeah, that's the worst when shows end in they get canceled, and that's happened too a couple of times with shows. They just like end, and they're just like, okay, what's next? But wow, yeah, I cry. Wow, that's surprising. I wonder if it maybe had an effect with the strike or something too. Maybe they figured that oh, we don't know how long this is gonna end. We might as well cut it off clean or something. Maybe that could be a possibility.
But that's the next piece of news. Actually, now that you mentioned it, like they're meeting today. As of recording, today's Wednesday. When we're recording, this will be out tomorrow, Thursday. But they're supposed to be talking today. It seems like there's some good progress. So maybe actors will be back to work soon.
It's good news.
But who knows? I feel like maybe this one will be still a little bit longer. I still haven't heard, as of right now, I still haven't heard anything, but hopefully it ends soon,
Yeah.
I know a lot of actors and actresses are kind of struggling without work and everything, but, that's the sacrifice for them wanting to get a way, way better deal to make sure they have more protections and everything. I'm in full support of it. They're doing a really good job getting the message out there, and hopefully they're able to get, back to work soon. Because like I said, I know a lot of them are definitely struggling right now. It's not easy for the smaller artists,
Oh, yeah.
Like people think when it comes to acting, like everyone makes Robert Downey Jr. type money. Everyone's a millionaire, but it's not the case. Some people make peanuts and, like that's just enough to get them by. And they're the ones that are struggling just because, The Rock or Robert Downey Jr. or all these other actors, actresses, Margot Robbie, etc. You name it. Like just because they're making a lot of money doesn't mean like the low end of actors and actresses who are trying to get a start here. It's not like they're making that same level of money. They're making nothing.
They're making like dirt, bro. Like I remember when the strike kind of first started, a couple of the ladies from Orange is the New Black, which was Netflix's like hottest show when it came out.
With House of Cards.
With House of Cards. And it was really the first big Netflix original too. The first big, streaming web series was Orange is the New Black. And I remember a few of the sides, like kind of like co-stars of the show, not like the main stars, but a few of the side characters, they talked about their pay, their check that they get in royalties, and it was like
nothing.
It was like nothing. It was like it was like less than $20.
Yeah,
and that's ridiculous. Less than $20 for a show that was like the most popular show and that won numerous Emmys and awards. And they're making like these side characters are making less than $20. So something was definitely off when I heard about that. Like I didn't expect it to be like that low, and it's bad. It really is bad. So I definitely see why they went on strike and it lasted as long as it did.
Yeah, some people just don't. There's a lot. Another profession that's like this. It's football.
Football.
Just sports in general, but especially in the football, like you'll see like the top football players just talking about, oh, we hate Thursday night football. We don't want that affects like all these actual legitimate problems because football's a demanding sport. But the reason why the NFLPA is one of the weakest and they don't really, why the owners usually win that is because while the stars are making a lot of money, millions and millions, there's a lot of people on the practice squad or, like third stringers on the NFL roster where they don't make much. Like, $600,000 is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. $600,000 is a lot of money, but football is not like other things, like they don't have a retirement fund or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, but like after a certain amount of games, like that $600,000 is going to go away like sooner rather than later, like it's a lot of money, but it doesn't last forever. And that's why, some of the players are just like, like, yeah, we know it's not on our, we don't have an advantage here, but like we need the money.
Yeah.
Like we need to make money. We need to save up for the future and everything, you know, because this is how we get by. This is how we save money for the future and make sure our future is great. And, you know, we can afford stuff and afford, you know, taxes and our homes and everything. So, you know, that's always like the tricky things about the strikes, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's like the strikes are for a good cause and everything. And I just wish more people realized how much, you know, like in this case, like actors and actresses that who are usually in indie movies or just, you know, like I said, are in smaller roles or background actors, all this stuff, like, you know, like see how much like they're sacrificing, you know, because they need to get a better deal. You know, the pay is awful.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do with background actors, you know, with AI and everything is truly disgusting and horrendous. So
it's really bad. Did you hear about Tom Hanks? The Tom Hanks video? Yeah, they put like they used his image for like a dentist commercial.
Yeah.
And as popular as Tom Hanks is, I don't think he would do a dentist commercial like on his own. Like, yeah, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He comes across as a nice guy, but I don't think he would do. I don't think he would be that generous and do a dentist commercial for like some random dentist company.
Yeah. You know, it's just sad. It's really sad that, you know, I say this because I see a couple people defending companies who are like, oh, they're all millionaires and everything. It's just not true.
Yeah.
It really isn't that true. Not that true. It's not true at all. Because like I said, you know, like believe it or not, guys, the Rocks, the Robert Downey Jr., the Margot Robbies, Brad Pitts, you name it, Leonardo DiCaprio, whoever you want to name, that's a very, very big minority in the, you know, like actor and actresses, like in just the interest in the whole industry in general. It's just a big minority. But they're, you know, they're the most famous, so that's why, you know, that's why it doesn't really seem that way. It does
affect them, and they've made a lot of like blockbusters, and they definitely, I mean, they've been in the business for like years, decades, even. Yeah,
they don't realize that not everyone, you know, like there's just more than just the big 6 studios or any of the mini major studios. Like there's indie movies, everything. Like the industry is huge, and people don't realize that some of these actors and actresses don't get paid much. Some of them maybe not even make a dime.
Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But with that said, guys, on to our final segment of the day. Movies coming out this Friday. So the first one I'll say is from A24, Dick's the Musical. I don't really know too much about it, but I do know it has Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, really?
So,
interesting.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was about, but I remember like seeing the trailer and I think it was like kind of interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of musicals, so I probably won't check it out. But
yeah, I'm not really. I like a little bit, but like I'm not really like. I liked the West Side Story, the Steven Spielberg one.
I haven't seen it yet, to be honest with you.
It's pretty good. And what else? And then Singing in the Rain, but that's just like because
how about In the
classic.
Heights?
In the Heights is very good too. I actually liked In the Heights too.
I did like that movie.
In the Heights is good.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
It's A24. They make a lot of good stuff. So yeah, definitely check it out. And then also we have
Pet Sematary
Bloodlines Paramount Plus. Oh man,
because I didn't like the last one.
The last one was pretty. Yeah, it was
just like it
was mid at best.
I kind of forgot about it till recently, to be honest with you, and then I'm just like,
it's not really not as memorable. No. No. And then also we have The Exorcist Believer
from Universal,
and, kind of like a remake / reboot of the Exorcist franchise.
Sequel, actually.
Sorry, sequel. It has one of the original cast members. Ellen Burstyn. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her last name right. She was in the first one. First movie came out, gonna be 50 years in December.
Yeah.
Crazy. None of us were around when the first one came out. But
grandparents, maybe our parents. Like
my parents were. My parents were definitely around. Yeah. They were like teens, like 13. I think my dad was like 13.
Yeah.
When it came out, my mom was 14. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if like they're taking like the Halloween route with this though, because I don't know. I have to check, but I don't believe like Exorcist 2 or Exorcist 3 are in the same universe as the like in this timeline.
In
like
this timeline.
you know how with Halloween they did like they skipped over like they got rid of. I mean they did it twice where they skipped over 2 in the last one and they went. Halloween 2018 was supposed to be the new Halloween 2, and then Halloween.
Yeah, they did a whole So it's interesting, because it's directed by David Gordon Green, who rebooted the Halloween franchise, which he did an amazing job with the 2018, and then he did a job on Kills, and then he did like a just terrible like WTF with Halloween Ends. So it's, and I know we had talked a little bit about this before the show. I don't know. I kind of have to wait and see a little bit, kind of hear a little bit of buzz about it before if I decide whether to see in theaters or not.
Yeah.
The new Halloween, because it can go either way. And I mean, and I definitely, when I saw the trailer, there definitely looks like they're taking a different route in it because you have 2 girls this time instead of 1. So,
and from the trailers, it seems to imply that only one of them will live. So that's I will say that's an intriguing angle to take. I will say I like the marketing for it so far. I liked it a lot because. From the test screenings, thing is like, oh, it's not scary enough. Mm-hmm. And you look at those trailers, and they're not scary. They are not scary at all. They're more spooky, if anything.
Yeah.
So I respect that, the angle they took with marketing, showing like, hey, guys, this isn't really going to be, a scary movie. It's going to be more like spooky, maybe scary in a sense, like, like they're going to do some freaky things and everything like that are just like, that show like, oh my God, they're actually like, possessed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I from what I've seen from the trailers, I like it so far. I hope it turns out well. Mm-hmm. I will say though, like with you, David Gordon Green, when it comes to horror, I think he's a very, very talented director, but when it's come to horror, he's only really, like hit a home run for me once. Like I also didn't mind Kills that much. I enjoyed it.
I know. Yeah. You like a little bit more Kills. Yeah. Than I did. But Ends was just like, atrocious. It just Ends basically didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It just, and then adding a new character, it just like, it was just like, why,
like
bro?
I said in the first episode, like I really, really thought that, I didn't mind Kills that much because I thought it was going to serve as a bridge and it was just kind of filler for Ends because I thought, like, oh, maybe like, the studio wanted 3. So, they kind of just made this to just fill something out. And I was going to say, like if the job was to make Michael look strong for the 3rd movie, then mission accomplished. But the thing is, follow-up matters so much, and their follow-up was horrendous. And
it was,
I am a bit worried about it in this, because this movie could be good.
Yeah, it can go either way, because it's definitely like the first one, because it looks like
it's the first one in the trilogy.
And the first one in the trilogy,
next one is like coming out in 2025. So I'm a little bit worried. I don't know if David Gordon Green could do a horror trilogy, because from what we've seen so far, it's not been a good track record.
It hasn't been. Yeah, it hasn't. I mean, he started off strong with it, and then the first Halloween, it was surprisingly good. That I was excited when I heard that they were gonna do Kills and Ends, and I was waiting too, and I was a little bit disappointed because originally Kills was supposed to come out in 2020. And then Ends was supposed to come out in 2021, but then the pandemic, so then they had to delay it. So then Kills came out in 2021, and then Ends came out last October 2022. So
we'll see how it happens.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's still early. It comes out Friday, so we'll see a little bit about the buzz.
It's gonna be something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am gonna go in with like little expectations.
Yeah, not too high. Just have them like in the middle.
Yeah. Well, if it's like a guilty pleasure, like fun movie to watch, like if it, if that's the case, that's fine. Yeah. If I could at least enjoy it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like Halloween Ends, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, it just didn't make any sense. Yeah, and it just like adding a new character that takes over like basically like 85% of the film. Yeah. And then just to have that in the last movie, it's just like, what? Yeah. Like, it's, yeah. So, but I mean, definitely looks like some decent stuff coming off. It's, October. So
next week should be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because, next Friday, I mean, Exorcist Believer was supposed to come out next Friday.
Oh, really?
But
The 13th?
They brought it up because, you got the Eras Tour Taylor Swift movie next week. So
oh, yeah, Taylor Swift.
I will say...
we live in Taylor Swift's world. We live in a Taylor Swift world.
Listen, I enjoy myself some T Swift, but... Yeah. I won't lie. She's heavily getting overexposed again.
Oh my God! Yeah, I like her. I like her too. Yeah, I mean, she's talented. She's a talented woman. Yeah. I like a couple of her songs. I'm not a fanatic or nothing, but I like a couple of her songs. But yeah, and then this whole thing with like her dating that football player,
Travis Kelce.
That's like I see that. Like, yeah, I know. Even the NFL is going like crazy about it. Like it's just like
they wrote in their bio the Chiefs are 2-0 against the Swifties now, and that's pretty. It's pretty bad because it does not look good on their part because of the fact like. The Sunday's game ended in a very controversial call that it made people think the refs were biased against the Jets because they want the Chiefs to win for Taylor Swift publicity. It's not good, guys. Like, I don't know. She's getting very overexposed. Like I said, I like her music still. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of her or anything. Same. Like, I enjoy some of her stuff and everything. I think she's very talented.
Absolutely.
But man, it's the overexposure is getting to me now. Like at first I was just like, oh, come on guys. Like you're overacting. No, after this weekend, I'm just like, okay.
Literally for the past year. I mean, ever since her last album, because her last album came out last year. Yeah. Midnight, right?
Yeah.
It's just
we got a couple Taylor's versions coming out soon. So I think Reputation might be the next Taylor version. So we'll see, like it's definitely a lot of overexposure at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, guys, before we go, we started up some wrestling videos. If you're interested in pro wrestling talk, be sure to check out our pro wrestling video. We talk about Edge going to AEW, big signing for them. So be sure to check that out. Should be out maybe before or after this video. We'll see what order I do things when I'm in an editing room. Sorry if this episode's been a little bit messy because, there's been a lot going on in the background, but, for the most part, I think it's been a very, very fun episode here today. Next week should be even more fun, we're going to talk about the creator. I think I'm going to go talk about The Exorcist Believer, so be sure to check out for that. We are going to have our movie license video game stuff next week, so be sure to also check out for that.
Tune in.
Should be a fun episode, and we'll have a camera next week. I'm going to have to go buy one, I think. We'll see what we do. But right now I'm just using my laptop, so, the quality might not be the best, but this is a start, guys. This is a start.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Thanks again for sticking with us, and I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. Check us out next week. Check out our other videos, our other podcasts if you haven't seen it. We love you guys for all the support that you give us. And it's been really, really good seeing, the other videos get a lot of traction and everything. It's especially that first episode. It got a lot of solid traction. So I would love to thank you guys for all of that.
It means a lot, really. A view just watching us, and it honestly means a lot. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys listening to us, our input, our thoughts, and really, it's for you guys. So we thank you. So we thank you
because we at the moment we're at 90 for that first video, and
it's good.
On YouTube it's 68. Every other platform's about 32 or something like that. For that number, it might not be a lot to a lot of people, but for us, like that means a lot.
Oh yeah, so, definitely.
We're a small podcast. We're we're still figuring out our footing and everything. We're still trying to do things out and getting to a point where we have something set in stone and everything. So like I said, thank you guys for sticking with us. Hope you guys stay for the ride because, like I said, it's been really, really fun. So, yeah, check us out next week. We're here every week. We'll have some more wrestling stuff coming up. And, yeah, with that said, this has been JP.
This has been Javier Rodriguez. Thank you for tuning in to the Real Rap Podcast. Check you in next week.
No one ever cared what you said, but to say that means never listening to what mom say. Always had a dream on moving at my mom's place. Always hesitate when it came to putting on the wrong face. When it came to putting it on face. When it came to building up a better being, but a better being. Never been in the back of your thoughts. Never ever thought you'd ever see them, but I bet that you were heated, but you scream in the back of your thoughts. Nightmares and dreams in the back of your thoughts. Life with a meaning.